Chair, and I'm delighted to participate in this debate this afternoon, and I want to pay tribute to the Honourable Member for Strangford for convening this debate and also for all the work that he and the Honourable Lady from Congleton do on these matters. As we've heard today, India's minorities are facing increasing intolerance under the Modi government. The principle of freedom of religion is inviolable. The freedom to practice your faith freely and without persecution is a basic human right. And I've listened very carefully today to all viewpoints in this debate, but the reality is that Prime Minister Modi's government has presided over discriminatory policies and has delivered the persecution of religious minorities, so much so that in April last year, the US Commission on International Religious Freedom recommended that India be designated as a country of particular concern for egregious religious freedom violations and be placed on a religious freedoms blacklist, alongside other countries such as Syria, Saudi Arabia and Eritrea. According to the Southeast Asia State of Minorities Report 2021, human rights defenders and religious minorities in India who dare to protest against discriminatory laws and practices have faced restrictions, violence, criminal defamation, detention and harassment, with other recent legislation limiting freedom of opinion and expression in the guise of preventing disharmony and disaffection. More and more of India's states have adopted controversial and radical anti-conversion laws, which we've heard a lot about today. Now, these laws are used by Hindu militant groups to prosecute and make false allegations against religious minorities. These laws, it would seem, often provide justification for attacks on Christian leaders with impunity. In 2021, the charity Open Doors, a very important charity which supports the freedom of Christians to practice their faith in the face of persecution around the world, and an organisation to which I pay tribute for its excellent work, Open Doors ranked India the world's 10th most dangerous place to be a Christian. Now, since the Open Doors report concluded that since the current ruling party took power in 2014, Hindu extremists have fuelled a crackdown on Christian house churches and have attacked believers with impunity, believing that to be Indian is to be Hindu. In rural areas, Christians were told that one church would be closed down every week because they have been destroying local tradition and culture by luring others to convert to Christianity. And it's common for Christians to be cut off from local water supplies and be denied access to government-subsidised groceries. And International Christian Concern has told the New York Times that Christians are being suppressed, discriminated against and persecuted at rising levels like never before in India. Indeed, last year was branded the most violent year in recorded history for India's Christians, with the United Christian Forum recording 486 violent incidents of Christian persecution, exceeding the previous record of 328 incidents recorded in 2019. Now, the evidence seems pretty clear. Of profound concern is the growing number of arrests in India of human rights defenders, student leaders, feminist activists, Dalit and Adivasi rights campaigners, trade unionists, opposition politicians and writers, artists, lawyers, academics and journalists who are critical of the Modi regime. The UK has a considerably interlinked and close relationship with India, as we've heard today, and every diplomatic tool at the UK's disposal must be used to effect change in India to ensure that religious minorities and flagrant abuses of human rights, of which religious freedom is only one, will not be tolerated. During the UK-India Free Trade Agreement negotiations, the UK Government has a very clear opportunity to send a clear message that a trade partnership between the UK and India will not be ratified unless there is real and meaningful change on human rights and religious freedom in India. The UK has a very positive relationship with India, so it's in an excellent position to exert such influence. The UK must demand more from its friends, and human rights and religious freedoms in India must be at the forefront of our conversations and trade negotiations with India. The human rights text and the clauses of any free trade deal with India must have policy teeth and must be enforceable. So I ask the Minister today, when she gets on her feet, to answer whether the Foreign Office, with help from the Department of International Trade, if it will undertake human rights impacts assessments before any trade and investment agreements are finalised with India. Will the UK Government work towards an integrated framework of atrocity prevention into the UK's India strategy to ensure that, at the very least, that UK officials are able to monitor risk and communicate those risks internally and externally? Will the UK Government ensure that human rights and environmental specialists are included in trade delegations? India has only ratified 6 out of the 8 International Labour Organisation's core conventions. Will the UK Government make access to UK markets conditional on the Indian Government ratifying and effectively implementing key human rights conventions? In 1995, it was agreed that every new EU trade deal would make human rights an essential criterion, allowing a treaty to be suspended if human rights commitments were broken. It's deeply concerning that the Foreign Secretary appears to have edged away from that principle in trade deals with Turkey, Singapore and Vietnam. I wonder if the current Secretary of State for International Trade, or indeed the whole UK Government, will go down the same path. It's abhorrent that people can be prosecuted simply for practising their faith and worshipping their God. The constructive relationship between the UK and India gives the UK influence, perhaps unique influence of all the international actors, to effect change and exert influence, to pressure, encourage, cajole, do whatever it takes to ensure tolerance, to ensure that India is governed by tolerance, understanding and equality. And that is shown to those Indians who are part of a religious minority. The ongoing trade negotiations with India is a very important moment to focus minds on this important matter. And I hope the Minister today will be able to tell us that this is exactly what's going to happen, and that the UK will stand up to India as a critical friend to make it clear that basic human freedoms are inviolable, and we expect our friends and allies to recognise this principle, to practice this principle and to respect this principle.